Hello YouTube, welcome to this channel again. Today we're gonna talk about strange things that actually people experienced. So let's begin. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you real stories that I read on Reddit. Hope you like it.
Where's your emergency?
So let's call this first person Lena. Lena always thought ghosts were real because she had few strange experiences in her house that she currently lives in. Two people were supposed to pass away there. I would like to point out that Lena has noticed several strange facts. She and her 5 friends were in the kitchen standing at the countertop. The kitchen has these reflective panels. 3 of them looked up and saw this black shadow dart from the right to the left at the kitchen door. So, this shadow was in the hallway and it went left to right really quick. 3 of them then saw and looked at each other like wondering what is that. They said it definitely wasn't a window or anything causing, because they directly saw it cross the doorway. After hearing stairs being creaked and footsteps up and down the stairs, one night Lena and her friends decided to do a little ghost hunting. They split into a group of 3. She and her friend and her cousin went to check out the living room. It was pitch black to the point that you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. Her little cousin just sat next to her with his fingers in his ears. Her friend was at the other side of the room, far from them. They started asking questions. It was stupid, obviously, because they weren't getting any reaction. Then, Lena randomly said that she is going to whistle the first part of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, but the ghosts have to finish. She whistled the song and she gets the end of it repeated back to her. It came from right corner over her shoulder, where none of the 3 of them was, and it was really loud. Neither of her friends knew the movie The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and they didn't know the song to it, which again blew their minds. Lena got a dog, and he was little puppy at this time. She had him a few days and he was laying peacefully on the sofa. She saw him get up and start crawling out at the hallway wall. He tucked his head like he was about to attack someone or something. He barked and growled. Then he came over across the chair and sat on the top of her, just staring at the living room door. She got up and nobody was there. She checked the whole house and there was nobody. She have had him 5 years now, but he hasn't reacted like since. So, this was the first story of Lena. Now let's talk about the second story. Tom first learned of the supernatural through a Frank Edwards book. It started out with someone on their deathbed talking to deceased relatives and proceeded with about 20 more stories. He was freaked out a bit and talked with his mom, who told him that nothing was really proven and a few of the stories were probably made up to boot. In the following few years, there were enough articles and even other books disputing all things paranormal, including a story or two Tom had read about. He became more skeptical. A few years later, Tom's grandmother died and they were 800 miles away and started making plans to join his dad, who had stayed with her in her last days. The night she died, Tom was in his bed in a bedroom he shared with his two younger brothers when the story happened. Their door was open to the hallway, which was lit but dim enough to not bother Tom, who was nearest to the door. Then he was laying in bed and ready to nod off when something as a faint ball or leaf of light came floating into the room. To this day, he said he was not sure what it was, but he knows that he saw something. It floated into the room and paused at the foot of Tom's bed for a few seconds. It did the same for his middle brother and then proceeded to his youngest brother, that we will call James. He was the farthest from the door. It paused at the foot of James's bed for a second and then headed towards his head. It looked like it paused there and then was gone. Tom lay there thinking a few minutes. Tom never told anybody about it because he wasn't sure about what he saw and he thought that nobody never gonna believe him. About 40 years later, he is talking to his mom and out of nowhere she said, "You do know that your grandmother visited your youngest brother on the night she died, don't you?" Tom was blown away and didn't even answer. He was just so stunned. James and Tom were never close and never talked about anything. He had also moved about 700 miles east. They re-established contact about 2 years before James died. One night on the phone, he asked him about it and it turns out they had seen about the same thing. James described it as a feather of light too. So, Tom told him his version about how she stopped at the foot of each bed, but when it came to him, how she had floated up to the head of his. He told him that he thought she was tucking him in. He said, "Hell, I thought she was trying to smother me." Tom still questioned that night, but little bro was spot on with what happened. Tom then said, "I am praying now that he can ask her in person and get back to me one day." What do you think about these two stories? Are these real ghosts? So, this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it and tell me in the comment what you think about it. So I'll see you next week for a new video. Goodbye.